Hey everybody, and welcome back. Alright, well, as you can see, I'm in one piece. Trial was good, I enjoyed it. Nice weather, nice dry sections. I would say 9 out of the 10 sections I liked. Still didn't use the big stream there, but they used a little sort of runoff from a pond with a couple of sections. But no, it was good fun. So I rode my friend Dick, and I got a little bit of video of his bike, the Ducati 160 that he built, which is a very pretty bike. Actually, I beat him this time. So all went well. Chris, riding the Triumph, of course, won the prehistoric class. He was, I think, second. So that means he beat 40 some riders on TY 250s and monoshock TY 350s and SWMs and you name it. And Bob was second in the class, and he was really well up in the overalls as well. And Dick and I go around together and we gossip and one thing and another, so we only did 3 loops, but I got a reasonable score, better than usual, so I was happy with the day. The only thing was 2 sections from the end, so Bob had done 38 out of the 40 sections. I came across him stopped on the loop and couldn't get the bike started, and it was making a very strange chuffing noise, like it had blown the spark plug out, but you still needed to use the decompressor to get it over top dead center. There was masses of compression, but couldn't get it to start. So he rode my bike back to the finish, and I managed to, because it was, you know, pointing uphill, so there was no way we could push it back to the start. So I managed to find a way going downhill a little bit and then down a bank and over a little ditch onto the road, and then Bob came round with the trailer and we loaded up. So I'm going to have a look at that probably today. In fact, I popped out, I'm working on the tractor, but I thought I'd just do this little bit of video. So we'll get on with stuff, because I know I'm waffling. I went out the other day, did lots of errands, went to the sort of the hardware place, and I got everything I needed except the rubber for the airbox. So I'll need to go out to get that. But other than that, and of course I still have to make another mounting for this. This is so strongly mounted on this. I might just, because I can get it at this side, I might make one that goes to the bottom, and maybe even put a rubber pad here so it's pulled down tight onto the rubber pad. But that really is a solid mounting. You know, it's a 3/8 bolt. I made that out of 8. They're 2 good big knee brackets. Anyway, we'll look at that. So let me get on and see where I can get sorted. I'm just going to video this with my phone because I can't be bothered walking up the house to get the camera. But as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video, the modern Enfield packed up. I explained the symptoms. So anyway, I just popped this off because strange things seem to be happening with the push rod. So I popped this end off and everything is good here. The timing marks are set and everything. So I took the rocker box off and look what I've found. 2 nuts off there, and the nuts, look, are just sitting there. That's it. This is exactly as it was when I took the rocker box off. And look at this. No, not that one. Snapped off in the head. So what about that? All right, let me investigate further. There's the broken stud. Look at the end of that. It's sort of like a broken casting. It's just all knobbly and bobbly and little bits and pieces. So I don't know what it was with these studs. Anyway, let's get back to doing the job. Right, well, I have a few bits to get for the BSA, so I think what I'm going to do for this week's video is we'll fix this. So, because everything is closer here than it is on the standard frame, I can't just take the head off. But I did find when I was fixing the head gasket leak that if I just take this bolt out and slacken these so it's not clamped up tight, and take, yeah, you can see it, this one bolt out of here and just slacken this one, the engine will pivot forward. I'll just let it down on this. The engine will pivot forward enough for me to get the head off, so I don't have to completely drop the engine. So let me get these bolts slackened off. I'll give it a little bit of a clean up as well. I've got to take the carb off, and then we'll see about getting the head off. Now, if memory serves me right, I've done everything I need to do. Took the coil off, disconnected them, slackened these bolts, taken the 1/2 inch one out of there, slackened this back one, and taken that one out of there, the one that holds the bash plate mount. So this should now just pivot on that back bolt, swing down just enough for me to get this off, because as you can see it's sort of, it's just, and it's the block, the rocker block that stops it coming off. It's not so much the studs like it is with the BSAs. So I've got it sitting on the jack, giving myself some spare cable for this to go down. Let's see if it'll work. I'm catching on that stupid bloody cable tie. Should clip this one off. And I get below the cylinder head. Right, we're down, the cylinder head is touching there, so that's as much as I can go. I should be able to get this off, I think. There we go, thought so. Thought so. Right. Wow, they're loose. They've got lock washers under them. I guess I'm going to have to Loctite them on. I was planning to do that anyway now. So let me undo the 6 head nuts, and then we'll back it up just a little bit so it's not touching here. And in fact, I'll do that now. There's no reason for it to be like that. That's all it needs. Let me take those off, and then hopefully the head should come off. Right, that's the nuts off. So only those 6 nuts that hold it on. Come on. Boom, 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 boom. That's well on, isn't it? Well, I'm not going to need a new head gasket for this, otherwise I'll have to sit around and wait for that to come from the UK. Let me just keep tapping it with the soft mallet. Well, I've got it loose. What I had to do in the end was, I've got a block on here. I thought what I need is a little bit of sort of mechanical help. So I remembered that these can't twist, however you want to pronounce it, clamps open out. You know, they've got an outside, they're not like a G clamp or anything. So I was able to put that down, wind it, put just a little bit of pressure here. Still couldn't do much, so I decided it needed to have a sort of a whump. So, in lieu of a dead blow hammer, piece of alloy right under the exhaust port. And I didn't wail on it, but I was able to give it a little bit of a shock hit. And last part to come free actually was over this side. And it's still, it's this one bolt here. They've got thick steel washers in to stop the alloy being squished into the threads, and as I say, it's just that one. Definitely. Anyway, it's what, 5 out of 6 of 3, so let me find some way to just, I've got nothing to bump on this side really. It absolutely is definitely oh, I think it's coming now. I'll have to I know that the steel washers are stuck in there. Can't get them out, but if I put the magnet down it sticks at the bottom, which of course it wouldn't do with the alloy. So let me there it comes. There it goes. I think it comes off this side. It's always the same, isn't it? Took everything off in, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour at the most. And then spent half an hour all right. Okay, so there's the broken stud. Let's go and put it on the mill and get that repaired. So a new day dawns. Right, we've got this fastened down on the mill table. Now what I'm going to do to make sure everything goes right is I'm going to bolt the block on, use that as a guide. Now I have just been checking around. I think one of the problems with this, I don't know if it's because these are made for the Enfields made in India and they're, I don't know, maybe they're 7mm holes, but this is actually what was it, what size is it, hold on 1 second, 9/32. See, so there's a little bit, let me take that back out, see, There's a little bit of wobble in these. So as I say, I'm going to put that in the chuck and get this exactly right, mark it on the, set it on the DRO, and then we can take the block off. We know we're in the exact right spot. So let me get this clamped down. So I've got this set up. See, I just there actually, I just took my hand off the quill. So that slides in there nicely. We're going to have to work on this block. I seem to remember one of these blocks was a little stiff, but this one, now it's tightened down properly, the rocker won't go at all. The back one, yeah, you can see the back one, which I've just checked is tightened down, although I haven't Loctited it yet. So we'll have to run a ream or something through that to get it exactly right. But anyway, for the moment, that's spot on in its position. So we will lock the table both ways, and I've set the DRO as well to 0, so we know exactly where it is. So let me take this block off, and we'll use a 1/4 inch end mill just to flatten that, and then we'll use a centre drill, and then we'll see if we can I'm hoping that it's sort of sheared off, because this thing was able to move and it was weak, and not so much that it's sort of stuck in there, because you know nobody turned it. With any luck, an extractor will bring it straight out. But anyway, let me stop talking and actually do some work. Well, this might be part of the problem with this block. I hope this is, I've got you close enough there to see. But there's our 1/4 inch end mill in, and that is spot on that. Now just hold your seats a second. "41 thou one way, 3 thou out the other way." So the holes through the block don't line up, so we must be putting some stress on those. Nothing I can do about that. We'll just I mean, we've got to get this broken stud out, so let's get that out first of all, and then see what we can do about that block. Alright people, get your diaries out. Michael has finally had a spot of good luck. You remember I had to buy new blocks, because although I had 3 blocks, they were all for one side. Well, I just checked, and they were exhaust blocks. So I actually have a pair, or 2 halves, of an original Enfield block. And look at this. This is in its moved position. So we're going to use an original block. Hang on, let me switch you off, because we've got to check something, haven't we? I just thought, let me check and see if this rocker binds in the old style block. And look, no wonder you get new rockers with the blocks. They're completely different. There's an original. So exhaust side, we're going to put an original block and rocker on. I wonder, wow, they're not even the same. Well, yeah, yes they are. They're the same distance from there to there, but that isn't. I mean, I could work on it, but why bother when I've got a perfectly good one there. Alright, let's get this bloody stud out. Right, well, I've locked the table down again, reset the DRO to 0, so let's just flatten the end of this so we can put a drill in. That's a bit of a bummer. It's snapped off a little ways down. I don't want to go too far down because I don't want to lose any thread depth. Okay, we'll try that. Right, I've had to do a bit of searching around to find a spot drill, starter drill, whatever you call them, that would fit down here, because I don't want to have to start taking all these studs out. So let's see what we can do with this. There was something else I meant to do before I started this job. Hold on. Alright, that's a perfect little start. Let me change this for the chuck and a drill bit. Right, now we try our drill bit. Cover your eyes. Right, let me lower the table and see if we can get an extractor in there. See, I might have made this hole a little bit big for the extractor. I'll go down a bit more, Michael. Because it's really falling in between the sizes of two of them. And I don't go any deeper. All the way up. Wonder what I was saying about luck. I suppose I could have just moved this to one side, seeing as I've got the DRO set, but and there it is. Alright, now I should have some more of these from the other head. So let me put one in. Successful job. Hey up. Alright, the moment of truth. There's no hiding our mistakes on this channel. Just put this all in finger tight for the minute. It's thick. Is that the big one? Yep, the thicker one goes on the bottom. And let's have a look, see, that goes in that way. Hold on, let me, I don't need any. Yeah, I'll put a drop of oil on. That do. Gosh, this is so exciting, isn't it? You're all holding your breaths. I had a nasty feeling when I was looking in the bag. I thought, what do you want to bet? The 3 blocks I've got are all inlet blocks, not exhaust blocks. Actually, these nuts, I find the best thing to fit them is a 9mm. Oh, that one doesn't want to move. Why is that? I mean, that's... Oh, hang on. There are 3 sets of blocks, 3 rockers, so maybe I've got to find the one that came out of that block. Yeah, that's still really tight. Let me get the blocks out and we'll make sure we match rocker to blocks and top to bottoms as well. After trying several combinations of tops and bottoms and rockers and what have you, there we go. Alright, so let me take these off. Degrease, de-oil them, get the threads nice and clean, and then I'm going to red Loctite all of those on. Right, I've got to video me putting the head on, but it just dropped on. So let me torque down these. I've run them down so far. Just snug them up. So there's one. Two. Three. 5, and the last one. 6. Okay. If you're wondering why that's there, it's because that stud came out with the long nut, so I've Loctited that in. I'm just waiting for that to set, and then I'll screw that off. So let me put the rocker box covers on and the carb and stuff, and then we'll set the tappet clearances to make sure they're alright, and just carry on from there. Right, that's everything back together. We're just about to run out of electricity in the battery. So fuel's on, choke's on. It's a good sign. Knowing the history of this bike, I didn't tighten up one of the what's it? The rocker feeds. So that was fine, that fed up there straight away. Alright, all fixed. All I'm going to do now is sort out the gearboxes. They're both playing up. Might be because I shortened the gear levers to make them a bit more usable. And this, well, you saw the design when I built them up. They're positively agricultural. It's almost as if Harley Davidson had a hand in designing them. Is that in there a little bit away from the exhaust? There we go. But now it runs again. So hopefully it'll keep running for a goodly bit. I'm going to take the air filter off and clean that. And then I'll put the saddle back on. And fiddle on with the gear. This one, I don't know if I mentioned it, jumps out the first gear. Although Bob said it didn't at the last trial. But I rode it last week before I'd fixed the sticking valve on mine. Can't remember if I told you about that. And there's one spot on the big hill climb when you go around this tree like that, it jumped out of gear twice for Bob, and then I rode it and it jumped out of gear for him. So I played around with this, with the position of the detent, and made sure that the change mechanism was exactly centered nicely. And when I rode it, I went around the tree, I thought, great, I got about another 20 feet up the hill and it jumped into neutral, which is not good on a, you know, but I managed to save it all. But mine virtually doesn't want to go into third gear. It'll go second, neutral, fourth, or fourth, neutral, second. So I've got to get in and look at these. As I say, I don't know whether it's just because I've shortened these and we're not getting, you know, good positive change. We'll have to see. We'll see the way Bob likes his up here. Anyway, that's that done. So, don't know what else I'll do. Oh, I've got some bits of video from the trial. I'll stick them on the end of this, but I've got a feeling it's going to be a shortish video. But anyway, that's it for the day. It's repaired, it's running, I'm happy about that. So, talk to you later. So that's it for this week. Not a longish video, but I wanted to get that job done, and I did a couple of other little jobs as well. I also lashed out, bought a couple of wall cupboards and started tidying up. I was getting sick of everything being dirty and I wanted it all in cupboards and drawers, so been working on that. Anyway, seeing as it's a shortish work video, there's a little bit of video now from the last trial. It's just a few bits of Bob, because of course if both Bob and Chris are reasonably, well, Chris is very competitive, so even though we did 4 loops of 10 sections and we rode for 4 hours, I never actually got to see him in a section because he's off. And Bob was riding so well at the start that, you know, he was riding with Dick and I gossip and what have you. So he wanted to see what sort of score he could get getting all 4 loops. So off he went. So I managed to get a couple of sections with him in, and as you see, a couple of other little bits. I've put some some headings, some little whatever they call them, to tell you what they are. Alright, so next week we'll be back on the Beezer. I've actually had some parts arrive. Oh, the piston came from Russia. Seems to be spot on for the bore, so that's really nice. Alright, so until then, it's actually a holiday here in the US. Tomorrow, Monday. Is it Labour Day? I don't know, something like that. Plus our major, we have 2 big universities here. Cornell, which is like a red brick type, you know, old school university, very expensive. It's their graduation day, so this is the main route to Cornell, so the traffic, all expensive cars as well, of course, has been streaming past, and tomorrow night it'll all be going the other way. So anyway, that's by the by. Until next week, stay safe and enjoy yourselves.
Round. And you've got to get into it as well, Dick.
We got a website. Thanks to the beer, the wine. We got a Facebook page. Thanks to Dave Derry.
And there's the man on the left.